Hello and welcome, class. Today we shall be taking a look at pack buffs and debuffs, mated bonuses and imprinted bonuses. A comprehensive guide, if you will. So, without further ado, turn your eyes to the skies and prepare to be mesmerized by our marvelous findings of mystery and wonder.
Imprinting is a little bit complex. So imprinting goes all the way up to obviously 100%, but at that 100% you get a 20% increase to all of the dino stats with the exception of stamina and oxygen. That includes obviously damage output and health. Now at say 50% imprint you're only going to get a 10% increase in the damage, and the graph here will sort of show what the imprint percentage will result in terms of stat increase. You don't get a reduction to incoming damage, but obviously because you are getting an increase to health, that makes a difference. Now, if it's a rideable dino and you are the person that imprinted on it, you will also get an additional up to 30% increase to the stats. So instead of being a 20% increase, that's actually a 50% boost to those stats.
The mated bonus is fairly straightforward. When one dinosaur likes another dinosaur very, very much, they get to get... No, okay. It is pretty straightforward though. Generally speaking, you get one of one sex, one of another sex, and whenever they're within a certain proximity, they get the little hearts above their head. Now, what that is representative of is a 1/3 increase to their attack power, so like 33.33333, you know, and a 1/3 increase to their defense, so they'll take 1/3 less damage while doing 1/3 more damage, as long as the two are within proximity. Now, it's interesting when it works, because you could have 7 boys and 1 girl, and I'm not going to get into that, but it counts. So basically, if you're looking to tame a second of something, if you can try and get the opposite gender, if it has a gender, it's a bonus that there's no good reason not to have.
Now with wolves, you have the pack leader, or the alpha, and the pack members, which is just determined by which is the highest level wolf. In terms of damage, the pack members are fairly simple. They just get a 5% damage bonus per pack member for a maximum of 20% with a full pack of 5 wolves, so with a +4 bonus. The alpha, a little bit more complex. The alpha gets a 50% bonus to its damage output just for being the alpha. It then gets that additional 5% damage bonus per pack member applied after the alpha bonus. So this means it actually equates to around about an 80% bonus overall if you have a full pack. In terms of defense, wolves actually receive a debuff. The pack members again are fairly simple. They receive a 3.5% increase to all incoming damage per pack member, which means with a full pack, they're going to receive a maximum of 14% increase to all incoming damage. The alpha again is a little bit different, because the alpha buff actually gives an additional 25% reduction to all incoming damage. However, the 3.5% increase is still applied per pack member. So at +1, the alpha's actually receiving around about a 22% reduction to incoming damage, and at a full pack, the alpha is still getting a damage reduction, but it's only around about 15%.
Ravagers are basically the exact same as the wolves when it comes down to the pack bonuses. Now, when you are the alpha, because something's in range enough to make you the alpha but not enough to get a +1, that's when you'll get just a straight up 50% bonus, same as the wolves, and then you'll go ahead and get your 5% incremental per pack member that goes along. The pack members obviously receive that same 5%. And again, pretty much the same thing for defense. You'll get your big 25% reduction just for being the alpha, but then that reduction lessens the more pack members you have with you, and for the members, that since they don't get a reduction in the first place, they just get slightly weaker, to a 14% deficit to their defense for being in a pack. So, bit of a trade-off there.
Alows are a bit unique in that they don't so much have a pack bonus, rather they simply have an alpha buff, and it's either an on or an off state. When the Alow is the alpha, it deals an extra 50% damage on its main attack, and it receives a 30% reduction to all incoming damage. It also gains a secondary attack that can only be used whilst riding it, and that's its gore attack. It applies a debuff to whatever it hits. For 10 seconds, whatever you bite will receive a 50% reduction to movement speed, and will also lose 5% of their health.
Ah, compies. Those good old cute little adorable things that look at you and that are perfectly harmless, right? Wrong. A compy pack will slaughter your face off. Okay, not literally. It's not a Rex or a Giga, but seriously, when you got a lot of them together, it's not that bad. As you can see here, per compy that comes into the pack, they gain a 30% damage increase. This goes all the way to a +8, which is 240% of the damage per member, so that's 8 times, you know? And now, okay, compies are not particularly strong individually, but when they are as strong as they can be for a compy, and there's 8 of them, that's actually not that bad. They also have the effect of like a marginal knockback when they're in a pack. When we were doing the damage tests, each one that would keep nipping at Sean, it knocked him back slightly, and he was unable to run away from them or to move. The best he could do is swing his sword at them, which, as you can see in this graph, they take 10% reduced damage per member of the pack. So again, when you're at +8, that's an 80% damage reduction. You're going to be swinging your sword a lot of times, and that's only going to kill one, which still leaves 7 chomping on you. So while they might not be innately powerful on their own, leaving a few clumped around your inner hallways might not be a bad idea as a means of warding off any intruders. Final note on the subject is that there is no alpha in a compy pack. Everybody is a pack member, there is no leader, so to speak.
So, onto the Hyenodon. Now, the Alpha Hyenodon will get a 50% increase to its damage output just for being the Alpha. Every pack member, up to a maximum of 6, gives a 10% bonus to damage. And for the Alpha, that's applied after the 50% Alpha bonus has already been applied. As for the defense side of things, Alpha will get a 1/3 reduction to all incoming damage, just straight off the bat, just for being the Alpha. For every pack member, gets what we found to be about a 5.4% reduction to all incoming damage.
On to the Kentros then. This is good and simple. Basically, they get 5% increase into their damage per pack member up to the full 20% increase, and that's it. There's no alpha, they don't get any defensive bonus, it's literally as simple as that.
Now onto those flappy little buggers that we all love to hate, Microraptors. Microraptors get a 20% bonus per pack member up to a maximum of 4. Now, as for defense, the Microraptors do receive a buff to defense as well. So for every additional pack member, they will receive a 10% reduction to all incoming damage, and with the full pack size of +4, that's a 40% reduction to any and all incoming damage.
If you're interested in the calculation that we used and want to use it for yourself, then here it is on screen.